Alrighty, so here in week 11, our window opens for you to sign up for your code review. Okay, so it opens on the 21st. You have until the 15th to complete it. There are things that will change the longer you wait. I'll talk about that in a minute. And so this item is just you signing up. Now, because of where it falls in this semester, I wanted to talk about where this hits because, and you can see today's date, I'm recording this early as I generally try to release course content ahead. So week 11 at the end, you won't see it listed in the calendar because the item itself, and this is me looking at it, is not due until the 15th. But again, there's a benefit to working ahead. Okay? All right, so coming back here. So there is actually a couple of students, several, working ahead. They could actually schedule themselves into a code review the week before we go out to spring break. I won't be doing anything during spring break. As you can see, I have nothing on our schedule. And so I suspect I will see the majority of you starting the week after spring break. Okay? So let me come over here then and actually look at this. Okay, so what is a code review? Well, this is really my way of assessing how well you're progressing in your knowledge of JavaScript. Okay, and down here I talk about what will it cover. It will cover code and concepts covered so far in the course. And the best way to study is to make sure you can use Chrome DevTools to be able to talk about and walk me through code with your decision app and or the carbon footprint. Or there is also another thing I may do where I actually have you and I kind of code together something. But having the knowledge about how to work with Chrome DevTools, how to walk through code, how to talk about code up until the decision app, and I'll talk about the specific step here in a minute. And then for this first round, it'll be up to week 11 in the carbon footprint. Now, in week 8, I actually did this where I walked you through and talking about the code itself, and that is a good thing, and I think a good way to help you study is to understand that code, because it's one thing to be able to talk about it, and of course it's another thing to be able to write it. That's why I'm looking at more creative ways, but the thing you can do to help yourself is just to understand the code as it's written and understand the concepts that are covered, right? Function. I mean, we could go through the list of what we've covered every week, and just having a good knowledge base of that is really where you want to be. Now, it's not going to be a lot of detail, but it will be my way to assess how well you're progressing in your knowledge of JavaScript, because this course, how else would we assess that? Because it's so easy to use other tools, and I find this to be the most effective. Okay? All right, so that's what a code review is. So for this item, right, that is opening this week and ending here, what are you doing? Well, basically what you're doing is you're starting the process of scheduling a session, right, with me. Now here's the session listings. We'll go over that in a minute. And so because we may have a back and forth as far as what works best for our schedules, right? And if none of the days, the session days that I've laid out, which basically the session days are my office hours, right? If none of those work, then I'll do my best to work with you to figure out a day that will work for both of us. Just know I'm not somebody that's up late at night. It's just not who I am. It's not my life. It's not my health. It's just not. I'm typically somebody that works early, and then I generally quit around 6 in the evening. Now, having said that, this session link here, and I'll go ahead and open it, is really basically my office hours. Okay? So like on Friday, and the reason I started this on Friday the 22nd was knowing there may be some students that want to sign up a little early. Now, if you want to sign up a little early, don't worry about the fact that those dates aren't listed. You would just submit your preferred day and time, into here. And again, we'll have a conversation if it doesn't fit in here. Now, once you confirm that, and I may end up adding some dates in here just so I can keep track of them, I will end up putting taken here because you can't modify this file. All you can do is view it. Okay, and then I will have some other notes that aren't accessible to you, but you will see which ones are taken so that you can then look at different day and times as well. Okay, all right, so that's about the scheduling piece of this. Now, there is an importance of when, and I've been talking about this since the beginning. So the sooner, and that's what this is, the sooner you do a code review, this is what it would cover. It would cover everything up to step 3 and the carbon footprint through week 11. Okay, so then if you schedule after that, now where this gets a little bit challenging is if all these sessions are taken and all of my other outside of this are taken and you're trying to schedule with me, but you're trying to schedule within this week, then I will work with you to have that be what yours is covered. But generally, if you're signing after that, then it's up to step 4 and it's through week 12, and then up to step 5 and 13. And I just wanted to help you have that visual of there's a reason you want to do it early. Now, some of you do have some existing JavaScript knowledge, and there may be a reason that you want to wait a little later is so that we do cover some of these other topics. Like this week, we actually talk about OOP and some other things. But even for those of you that may have that, you're still welcome to sign up at the very beginning. Don't let that keep you from doing it. Okay? So hopefully now you have a better understanding. Now I don't have the dates all the way through the end of the semester. I'll have those in there fairly soon. Now, and I put this in here honestly just to be clear, right? Are they optional? Well, it's 20% of your grade. I guess you could only say it's optional depending on where you're at and where you want to end up with your grade. And the reason I put this in here is that I've had students, probably a handful since I've been doing this, who this just was very nerve-wracking for them. I just want you to know that's not my goal. My goal is actually to give you something that is real world and is, to me, the best way for me to assess your JavaScript skills, mostly because there's so many different ways and there's so many different things you can do to help you write code. I want to make sure you're learning how to do it. So can you do this? Can you get through this course without it? And the answer is yeah. If you've nailed everything else, and depending on where you want to end up with your grade, you could not do this. And so you could go into your grade, and hopefully you know this in Canvas, there's that what if scenario. So you can say, hey, what if I don't do this? You just put a 0 in there, and then it would tell you what it does to your grade as of that point in the semester. Now, the reason I almost didn't want to put this in here is, like, even if you don't do great, a percentage, anything above 0 is going to be helpful to your grade. And I think it's just good to do these kinds of things, because it really is something that happens in the real world. Somebody will probably give you, maybe not a code review interview, but you will do code reviews or some kind of technical interviews, and these are just good to have under your belt. All right, so I kind of talked about this before when I talked about these things, but just because it's in here, right? So coding and concepts covered so far in the course. And again, the longer you wait, the more it will cover. The best way to study is to make sure you can use Chrome DevTools to talk about and walk me through code from either your Decision app or the carbon footprint. Or something else, right? So something kind of related could also be. Now, and I say that in the sense that this is a good way to study for that. I can't tell you exactly what you and I are going to do, because I actually do make, I do have a variety of things that I go over with students. So just know this is what I'm telling you as far as how to study for it, right? How to get prepared for it. But more than anything, hopefully, if you've been coding along, if you've been troubleshooting code, if you've been giving this course a real effort, you should do fine in the code review, okay? All right, so how will it be held? You can either do a Zoom session. I find Zoom sessions to be the most comprehensive. You will need to have a working microphone. You will screen share with me when we walk through code, so you'll want to make sure you can do that. On the Mac side, you do need to actually, if you're working on a Mac, make sure and this is a good thing to come in and make sure your system's set up maybe before the code review if timing allows, because as you can imagine, as we get closer to this, scheduling gets a little more challenging, right? If you do want to come into the office, which is totally fine, you'll probably have to bring your laptop, or you and I will have to have something, because you'll need to have your environment up and running, right? So chat with me about that one, and you can do it in your submission if that's what you want to do, okay? Now, if you don't do well on the code review, can you do it again? I do give students a max of 2 attempts at the code review, okay? So, again, I get that it can be a bit nerve-wracking. Okay, so I've gone over this. I've gone over what I will do once you submit it. I've talked about the time. I've talked about if it's optional. I've talked about at least how to study for it. And then I've talked about how they will be held, and if you can do them again. So again, the window opens here. They are available for you to sign up. The longer you wait, the more content it will cover, but you have until the end of the semester. But again, I wouldn't wait. All right, so if you have any questions about this, you can also reach out. You're welcome to use this submission. What you're basically submitting here is based on your review, a date and time that you would like to do the code review. I hope this helps clear this up. Have a good one.